when you're creating and you're in that artistic state and you're in that flow state, let's break down what that is, because really it's the flow state, which is the thing that you associate doing photography with, right? It's that state that you become in that feels what? Feels good, feels present.
It's like a drug.
Yeah. So,
Endorphins,
yeah,
dopamine.
yeah. And so there are components that make that up, right? You need to be, well, you're going to be in the present moment. You're going to be challenged a little bit, right?
That's really key. And I think, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but you've actually mentioned something there that I've improved on over the last few years is being in the present moment. Like we're talking now, nothing else matters, right? It's practicing mindfulness and being able to actually be here right now in the moment and understand what that feels like and understanding just being happy with what's happening, listening. Obviously, there's a tension in there, but I think that's 10x when I have a camera in my hand, right? It's just like I'm so present, and that's my form of a drug almost. You know, people do mushrooms or they go on meditation retreats or they just meditate, whatever, or they breathing exercises, whatever their thing is to tap into that kind of flow state. That for me is kind of my entry into it. But I wouldn't be able to have such an effective experience without being better at being present. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And we all these are all just mechanisms to get into the present moment, though, and to get into the flow state. For somebody else, it might be podcasting, it might be playing paddle, right? Like there's this I love paddle. Why do I love paddle? Well, it's kind of the same thing, right? I'm in the present moment. I don't have my phone on me, so there's no other thoughts that are coming in. It's really just that presence. That's the ultimate thing, right? Because this is all that exists. But then it's also, if you add on to that, you're getting better at something. You're getting better at that craft. And the real fulfillment comes from the growth that you feel. It's that incremental improvement, right? No, it's like I've seen you make this same coffee downstairs 10 times in the last 2 days. Well, not you, your team, right? And it's that mastery, it's that getting it better and perfecting it. It's that, right? That, and I can see that's coming from like your love and passion. You're not coming from a place of like, no, this has to be
Yeah.
right. It's because you love it so much, right? And you enjoy it so much. And so that's why you also love coffee, right? Because it's an art form. And so for anyone listening to this, if you can, whether you're an artist, photographer or not, find that thing that gets you into that flow state. Because guess what? That doesn't just affect you in that moment. That ripples out to every other area of your life. I always say internal state equals external reality. So that's changing your internal state to be more present, to be happier, to be just a better, more positive, enjoyable to be around, enthusiastic version of yourself. And that is what's the word I'm looking for? It's contagious, right? Just as if you're around someone who's stressed, that stress comes onto you. Right? It doesn't feel good. Or if you're around someone who's bubbly and upbeat and like passionate, that also kind of comes onto you, right? So if you're the person who's in that state, share that with people. It's the best gift you can give. And here's the thing: the art you create is just an expression of that as well. So your ability to then share that with other people and, coming back to the money talk earlier, get compensated well for that is a beautiful thing. And actually, what I've realized is from doing more personal work with people in these last few years, I've realized that because I used to not charge much when I started out for the same things. I was like, oh, well, this is, I'm helping somebody. They might be going through a really tough time. It's really personal stuff. Like, I don't want to charge a lot of money for this. But I realized that one, the more money somebody wants to pay for something, right, the more they actually get value from that thing because it's an energy exchange, right? Money is just the exchange of energy that we use. And two, you as the creator actually feel like you're getting properly compensated for it. You feel good about it. And you can then give more of yourself to that person, to that thing, to that creative project, right? When you're being compensated well for it. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing to get paid a lot of money for something. It can be an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. And that's why part of, and this is why it's just the mindset, because you can choose to just have that shift around it. Essentially, what you value something at, somebody else can then value it at. But if you don't value it highly, then you're doing a disservice to what you've created. And I think that's a shame. And I see so many artists undercharge for what they do, and it's such a shame.
We just talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah,
I won't mention it now, but we
yeah,
just talked about it.
yeah,
Yeah, we have to learn those lessons as well, right?
yeah.
It's again, it's learning where the sweet spot is, but also learning failure and learning success, and just kind of going through that process as whatever you want to label yourself as. You know, maybe a lot of artists are not good with money, right? They're just not good with business. I interviewed, he won't mind me saying this because it was on the podcast and he said it himself, but photographer called Jimmy Nelson, very, very big, everyone, quite famous in terms of in the photography world. And he doesn't have a cent to his name. Like, and he's, oh God, I can't remember his age. I'd say 50s. But he doesn't care. He said, look, I'm not good at business. I give all my money away anyway to either my team or to charity. And I just love doing what I do. I just do photography every day, go on these amazing trips, take amazing photos, sell them, and the money just goes back in the system. But the important part of that, he identified that I'm just not good at business. I tried it, and there was something I just wasn't good at. So now I basically outsource it, right? So he can focus, and that's okay as well. Like, there's no right or wrong with all of this. You have to kind of find your way, and I think that's an important journey, an important lesson for people. Certainly, people might be listening to this or watching it. Is we can watch a million YouTube videos and we can listen to loads of people like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. What I like about your approach, and one reason why you're on the podcast, is because it's more of a, okay, let's find out who you are first and what's important to you, right? And then we can build everything else around that. So we can find your way and your journey. So my follow-up question to that would be, what's your journey and what's your success? What does success mean to you in terms of, the battles between internal, external, fulfillment, purpose, et cetera, money?
Success to me is just waking up and just feeling good, just feeling in a state where at worst I'm at neutral, at best I'm in a good state. Because if I'm waking up and I'm just here and I'm just present, to me that's success. Because everything else that has led to that point has probably, been I looked at to get to that state, right? And then why do I start with that? Well, because that's the state everything is created from. It's all comes back to the internal, right? So yeah, look, there's loads of things I could say of what success means to me, like providing for my family at home, being able to do things for them, having going to have kids and get married in the next few years, all those things, fatherhood.
Does Maggie know that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It'd be now if it was up to her.
Right.
Yeah, like all of those things are really important to me, but I've only discovered them by going through life, right? And so ultimately, I think that the more I go on this journey, the more I realize a lot of it is just about being in service as well. And service can mean so many different things, but it's ultimately living for something greater than yourself, right? Because even if you just create art just for yourself and no one sees it, there's a level of satisfaction you get from just the pure creative process. And that is beautiful. But there's also a part of you that wants to share that with the world. And
That's called the ego.
but it doesn't have to be, ego's not always bad, right? There's the,
No.
there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's,
And that's,
ego is just self. I
yeah,
think ego gets a bad connotation, but ego just means the self.
yeah. But it's an amplifier, right? When you can share that, that can then affect other people. So I think service is also a really big thing for me. And again, it can just be like, smiling at the old lady across the road because no one smiles at her anymore because she's not 21 anymore, right? That's also the same thing. Just leaving people in the world in just a little bit of a better place than where you found it. I think that to me is success.